So we were in the shop one time. We were working on the car, and he had tightened up a bolt earlier, and I had to loosen it, and I could not loosen it. To save my life, I tried jumping up and down using all my body weight, couldn't loosen it, and he came over, saw me struggling, and with 2 fingers pushed down on the wrench, loosened the bolt, and he turned to me and said, "We're going to the gym on Monday."
Hey, welcome back to the Better Fitness Proof podcast. I'm your host, Matt April from Bent on Better. And today I'm super excited because we have one of our, well, I want to say newer members, but part of the BOB family, Brenden. Brenden, can you say hello to everybody and introduce yourself, please?
Hi everyone, I'm Brenden Madonia. Like Matt said, I've been here at Ben on Better for 6 months now. Um, Currently, I'm a revenue specialist at Cotivity, a company up in Blue Bell, Pennsylvania, and yeah, I love being here.
Perfect. That's awesome, man. So we always like to start with some wins. I want to start with some wins.
Okay,
We just literally before this episode did your in body. We haven't done one in months, but
right?
we did it, and you weren't too sure because you're going through some stuff right now, right? You're going
Yeah,
through some things, right? We'll,
yeah,
we'll touch on them, I think, in a little bit, like
sure.
the house and the
Yeah, I
life
got.
and the move and
Yeah.
all the different
Oh
things
yeah,
with
it's a lot.
everything. But your big win. So you take the spotlight. You share it.
I am down 10 pounds of body fat.
Oh, body fat,
Let's go.
dude.
And that was
Mm,
that was probably like my biggest goal when I joined was just trying to get the body fat down because that's like the number one thing that I focus on every time I do an in body. So the fact that in 6 months I'm already down that amount,
mm.
and like you mentioned, going through that struggles already, through that 6 months that I'm still down 10 pounds is awesome.
It's
So
awesome. And
it makes it awesome.
your water levels have been great. They're a little bit lower now, which is cool because it's part of life, right? There are always fluctuations in things. But the fact that you've gone through what you've gone through, we'll go through it. We'll cover a lot of this stuff. But you came in here, you got to work in the winter. We're now 6 months later, and you are at a place where it's important that you said body fat because it's not just having lost just the pounds.
Right.
It's 10 pounds of body fat, dude.
Yeah,
That's big.
it's
And
huge.
like you can see the difference. I can see the difference on you. Do you feel the difference?
I'm starting to feel the difference.
Yeah.
I mean, going up the stairs. We live in on a third floor apartment. You can definitely feel the difference going up the stairs that way. So now it all makes sense. The numbers make sense why that
Yeah.
is. So yeah, it's an amazing feeling. I'm super happy, and I'm gonna keep pushing. That's the best part too. Is like now I know the number. Just gonna keep going with it. So
Love it.
yeah,
Love it. Brendan, so let's go. Let's go back. Let's take it back.
sure.
I want to take it back to a time before we knew each other, before everything. So I want to get the whole story because you had your goals when you came in, you have your background, all of your experiences, the hurdles you've gone over. There are all these things that make your story so powerful and inspiring to everyone who will get the chance to listen and watch. So take me back to a time. Take me back and tell me this. Tell me. So take me all the way back to like what made you decide to come in. First of all, what made you decide to come in?
Well, I mean, I'll go way, way back. I was never really big athletically. I wasn't a really big athletic kid. Growing up, I was always the shortest kid. I was the tiniest kid. I didn't really have a lot of muscle. I couldn't really lift a lot of heavy things growing up. I played some sports. Baseball was my major sport. But as time went on, all the other kids grew. I stayed the same. It's kind of hard to compete with that, so I gave up with that. And then yeah, through high school, college, I just kind of stayed away from the gym. I didn't really think it was for me. I didn't think weightlifting was really what I would be able to do. Um, and it wasn't until I was 23, 24, I'm 27 now. It wasn't until I was like 23, 24, I had a buddy of mine pretty much forced me to go to the gym with him. Um, we were working in a shop.
What's your buddy's name?
Chris,
Chris.
Chris Young, yeah.
You still friends with Chris?
No, we've kind of lost touch since we
All
moved. He
right.
was back, I'm originally from New York, so he's back in New York. I moved here to Westchester. We kind of just lost touch.
All right.
But he was a race car driver up there. It's a crazy story.
Race car driver. Wait, tell me. Wait, yeah, tell me.
So yeah, up in Long Island where we're from, there's really not much to do on the east side of Long Island where Claudia, my girlfriend, and I are from. Besides farming, shopping, that's pretty much it. But there is a racetrack there for race cars, and I had a buddy who grew up in a racing family, and he started his career when he was 14. Needed some help, needed a crew guy, so I volunteered and worked with him for 10 years. So it wasn't, yeah, again, it wasn't until I was like 23, 24 when I kind of really realized I needed to start, working out, getting in better shape. Being on a pit crew, it's kind of, it sounds cool. I mean, the best way I could describe it is the stuff you see on TV. We're like the beer league level of that. So like we're not really like
Okay.
professional. We're not trying to, do the fastest pit stops or whatever, but we're still doing our thing, and a lot of heavy lifting, pushing the car around, tires can be heavy. Not many people realize that, but they can range from 50 to 75 pounds.
Wow.
And you're carrying around four of them at a time sometimes. But anyway, getting back to the story. So we were in the shop one time, we were working on the car, and he had tightened up a bolt earlier, and I had to loosen it, and I could not loosen it. To save my life, I tried jumping up and down using all my body weight, couldn't loosen it, and he came over, saw me struggling, and with two fingers pushed down on the wrench, loosened the bolt, and he turned to me and said, "We're going to the gym on Monday," and that was so
Wow.
that kind of started my fitness goals, my fitness journey. He kind of showed me, a couple exercises, how to use a couple machines, stuff like that. What stuff that he learned. He wasn't really, a big fitness guy either, but stuff that he learned in college from his friends. He kind of, showed me the ropes, and yeah, I just kind of went from there. Started going about 4 to 5 days a week. Kept that up for about a year and a half. And then the pandemic hit. And then once the pandemic hit, everything shut down. Um, couldn't go to the gym anymore. Got laid off from my job. So I was sitting at home, no work, no nothing. I was, eating junk food, playing video games like everyone else pretty much for 5 months. And obviously, my health and my weight, I gained a lot of weight. My health kind of declined. Um, and then we decided that we were going to move to Westchester. Claudia, my girlfriend, got a job here in Westchester. She went to school here, so it made sense. So we packed up all of our stuff, moved here in August of 2020, and then kind of the same cycle of stress from work, stress from moving, stuff like that. Didn't really pay attention to what I was eating, wasn't really exercising a lot, and so it added up, and we both kind of wanted to make a change, so we started going to the gym. I believe like around I want to say like summer of 2021 ish. Try to go, and we just kind of lost motivation. We were both. I have really big self esteem issues, so like going to the gym, even by myself, it's like nerve wracking because I always feel like people are staring at me and like I'm doing something wrong. So that kind of scared me away from it as well. Um, so yeah, we kind of stopped going around November of 2021, and then uh, start of the new year, we both kind of looked at each other like we need help. We need to get going. We need to, you know, start losing weight and start taking care of ourselves, start eating right. And she was the one that actually went on Google and found Bent on Better, reached out to you, and the rest is history,
It's the best history. That's
So
the best part. Yeah, it's the best part. I love that part.
it's a happy ending. But yeah, so I mean, I know it was a long story, but that's kind of the basis of my whole journey from to get to this point, and it's just been a roller coaster, really. So.
It's been a roller coaster, but you had a couple of key factors I want to highlight before we move
Sure.
on. So one part was you were in a position in your life where you were working on Chris's cars, doing
Hmm.
the pit crew stuff. I like the beer league first. I'm like thinking to myself, like, wow,
Yeah,
like
no,
all
it's
the
not that
quick
cool.
things.
It's not that cool. It's more like, if you go to your tire shop and you see the guy, that's kind of
Okay.
same speed.
That's
So
still
not
pretty
as
cool.
quick.
For someone who has no car experience whatsoever, I'll use car analogies all the time, but I'll never actually work on a car. It's pretty cool. But you're in a position where you had an aha moment, and that aha moment was brought on by your friends showing you that your your physical capabilities weren't to the degree of what you wanted them to be to perform that
Right.
activity, right? So a
Yeah.
lot of us get started in fitness because some external force, a person, a friend, a spouse, significant other, maybe someone we don't like, maybe a doctor, I don't know, gets in our head by like sharing or showing us something or telling us something we need to change, right?
Hmm.
So in that moment, Chris was like, dude, boop,
Yeah.
made the change, right?
It was pretty embarrassing. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty bad. But
Right?
like I said, it kind of gave me the motivation to go, and going with somebody too to kind of also take out that whole being afraid of working out in front of other people as well. Like it kind of washed that away because it's like, oh, okay, I'm with somebody that I'm comfortable with, and that won't judge me if I'm not doing something right, or if I'm only lifting a small amount of weight. Like I'm not lifting 50 pounds. I'm only doing tens, whatever. Like I felt comfortable in that environment.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yes, and that was the key factor that you already summarized so well, is that you had that interaction with Chris, which
Yep.
made you to realize that there was an opportunity for you to improve your health, improve your strength, improve your fitness. So you went that path, and that's all it takes sometimes, is just having someone or something come into our lives and say there is more that we can do. There is opportunity for us to improve in whatever capacity that might be. With us, like we're talking about fitness,
Right.
but even with me, like I know that I didn't get started with lifting until I saw a. So I remember this so specifically, and I'm gonna give it the watered down version, the simple one.
Hmm.
I went to this summer camp at a museum of natural history or something like that here in this area,
Hmm.
and I was 7, maybe 8 years old.
Wow.
Old enough to remember this,
Wow.
but there was a camp counselor, and his name was Brian or Brenden. I think it was Brian. And but Brian was like, he was like a preteen. He was like 12 or 13.
Hmm.
And I remember that summer, all the little girls were my age were like loving on him, and like he would flex his muscles, and he had this like really big at the time, like big biceps. And like I was like, oh my gosh, like I want to have all the girls love me like Brian.
Right.
And so I asked him, he's like, yeah, you just gotta work out. And like showed me like the curls. So I'm not even joking. That summer, I forget, a parent or a friend got me. I still have them. They're out in the gym right now. My first ever pair of dumbbells, the blue
Oh,
5 pound dumbbells are
those are
out
your.
there. Those are
That's
mine from when I was 8. And so
that's
still
awesome.
to this day, we use them. And how cool is that, right?
That is super cool.
But
That's
that's what
so cool.
inspired me. That one person saying something to me that I wanted to make a change, and I did. And that brought me into all the different levels of fitness I did with athletics and fitness, and now being in a place where now it's my life.
Right.
It's so cool to have that little thing though. And for you, so the same
Yeah.
thing wrapping into back around to your story, you can have one moment that changes your life, and that moment was with Chris, because
Yeah.
that opened the opportunity of the doors for you to realize that there's so much more for your life. There's so much more you can do. And now look at you, down 10 pounds of body fat, improving your lean body mass, building muscle, getting in here with Claudia, like getting to all this good stuff with good people, good places, good for everything, man.
Yeah, yeah, it's I mean, like I said, it's been awesome being here. I mean, it's really encouraging to see again the results and everything and even just the people that we're surrounded by, like just cheering you on and letting you know that you're doing a good job. And even if you feel like you're doing a bad job, they're still like, no, you look where you started and look where you're at now. Like,
Yes.
it's incredible. So yeah, I mean, all I needed was that push, like you said, and it's led me on this incredible journey and it's been awesome.
So now where you know, so let's talk about, because I know I want to hear about like the challenges that, from Chris introducing you to fitness to now. Yes, there's the pandemic and the
Yeah.
hiccup with all that, but for you physically, what challenges have you had to overcome getting to where you are currently today?
Um, Probably, I mean, honestly, like I mentioned before, like I was really short, tiny kid, and it was really intimidating seeing, my friends and other people like, working out or getting, getting stronger, being physical, playing sports, at a competitive level. And I couldn't compete with them just because of my physicality at where I was at. So just being able, like, just now, I mean, I just use that as fuel, as motivation. Like, I just keep pushing myself and keep challenging myself to keep going. So that's probably where I kind of just everything's a challenge to me, honestly. Like if I'm doing, 20 pounds on a bench press, I want to do 30 next week. Like that's just how I work. That's just how I've been built. So to answer your question, really honestly, it's just everything is. I always challenge myself constantly. I'm my biggest challenge, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So
Your mental state is the biggest challenge for you, and then setting yourself up in these ways of, that you can work against yourself.
yeah,
You're comparing Brendan to Brendan, and
pretty
you're
much.
only working against yourself. And so the harder you're working is you're trying to outbeat the Brendan from yesterday or
Yeah.
from a week ago or from a month or a year or 10 years ago. And that's what I admire about your story so much, is that we're not, for you it's unique, right? There's not this huge hurdle of like this physical limitation that you've had with like having to have a knee surgery or something,
Yeah.
which is inspiring in itself. And we've had a lot of other members talk about it in previous episodes,
Right, right.
right?
Yeah, I mean, those people, everyone that has gone through something physically, challenging, that to me is more inspiring than, I mean, it's inspiring. I think mental challenges as well. I think both of them are pretty challenging, in themselves, but like, yeah, I mean, I guess I can say I'm lucky that I didn't have to go through something like that because that is a big challenge. But again, the mental side of it too is hard because, you know, like you said, I'm challenging myself, and that can be bad. That could be hard. You know, some days I've left, the gym, whether it's here or in previous times, thinking, wow, I did not do enough. Like I'm terrible. And but then again, like I said, I train myself to come back and use it as fuel and go, okay, well, last week was not a bad week. Let's do better this time. Let's focus on what I didn't do well and just try to improve on it. And it's worked for me so far in 6 months because again, where I started in January, I couldn't even deadlift 20 pound kettlebell.
You were doing bands.
Yeah,
You were using the bands. Remember
I was
that with
using
the
the bands
hips?
and I was just
Yeah.
practicing my hinge.
Yeah.
And now I'm doing, 135 on the trap bar. And it's like, if you told me that back in January, that's what I'd be doing, I'd call you crazy. But it's just every time I came here, it was like, okay, I did great. I want to do better.
Mhm.
And I didn't do great on this thing. Next time I'm here, I'm gonna make sure I kill it. And that's just kind of what I've been doing for 6 months, and I'm just constantly in that mode, I guess. So
It's well, I think there's the big takeaway right now that we're hitting at is no matter what you're working toward, no matter what goal that you have, if you can align your mental state and your physical state with the idea of, I just need to be 1% better than myself at whatever it was previously, just
hmm
1%, right? So some people, we go, we'll talk about the house thing right now. So
yeah,
right
go
now, for
ahead.
example,
Yeah,
like
sure.
you're going through, you haven't been in here in a few weeks because of the
Yeah,
house hunt, because of having
yeah,
to figure out where you guys need to go. Your living situation is huge.
yeah,
And like you and Claudia have both had to sacrifice for the short term your fitness. And so that's also going to play a part in your mental health and your physical health and your emotional health. But that plays a part. But now, right now, when you get back in here, when you have it, it's like you're not comparing yourself to where you were 3 weeks ago. You just compare yourself to where you were yesterday, which was maybe you weren't here. And so just getting 1% better, which is showing up, yes. Getting it in, yes. Doing the best you can right in this moment today. And just know that it's okay to not push as hard as you were in the past, but to push better than where you were a day ago because you weren't here, right? Little
exactly.
things like that. That's how you've been so successful. That's my thing. That's my take.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're 100% on that. I mean, and also too, getting back to the house thing. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
like, yeah, that's been the biggest stress on me and Claudia for us. I mean, it kind of came out of nowhere. We
So,
love coming
so
here.
what happened? So like everyone who's watching doesn't know the story. So give us like the short of
Sure.
it. The short of it. What's
Sure.
happening?
So we are currently renting an apartment. We have been there for a little over a year, and we decided that we were going to stay. We were already set on staying. They came to us in March and said, "Hey, we're raising your rent to an incredible amount. I'll say $400." And we both looked at each other like we can't do this. So from the middle of March to now, I mean, we've just been on the house hunt because we figured it'd be a little bit more affordable for us compared to renting. So that's just really what we've been doing. Been looking at houses, and we've lost out. We lost out on 7 houses before we found this one. 7 houses.
7 houses.
Yeah, this market's been
I
crazy. Yeah,
know
it's
this
been fun.
market's nuts right now.
It's been insane, and we've tried so hard, like just put as much time and effort as we could into that effort. Unfortunately, it took away from our fitness goals, but
Temporarily.
temporarily. But yeah, we just came back. I mean, we came back during personal best week, which was like the best week to come back to because it's a good baseline of, hey, how much have I grown, and also where can I improve? And I'm proud to say that during PB week, I went up in every single exercise. So I'm on cloud nine right now because I mean that was what, last week,
Yeah,
2 weeks
yeah,
ago
yeah,
now.
yeah.
So it's like I did go down a little bit, and I wasn't as high as I wanted to be in some areas, but still, like, the fact that I was better than where I was in February is still just incredible. Even with that short little break in there. So yeah, it's just, I don't know.
Well, let me highlight that real
Sure.
fast. So for you, and this is a good learning point for you, but also for people who are watching and listening, in that same way. So yes, for the people who are watching and listening who aren't members, who don't know what we're talking about, we do something called personal best or personal record week, where every 3 months we test everything from stability to mobility with shoulders and hips and ankles, but we also look at strength and conditioning and all the areas that people usually focus on the most. But we want to look at things that are measurable so we can track progress and see progress in other ways than just a scale. But The big takeaway for why we even started doing PR week was because yes, we wanted to have all the things I just said, but we also wanted to give people the opportunity to reset because for too for too long people believe that it's like you have to go 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 and there's no stopping, and that's where people get caught up and stuck. So this week every 3 months allows for us to almost reset because you're only coming in 3 days, and those 3 days you're giving it your best, and the other 3 to 4 days you're resting or you're doing recovery things that we're recommending with
Right.
recovery for movement or mobility work or flexibility, stretching, right? All these kind of
Yep.
things. But
Yep.
you gave your bodies a break and you came in on PR week. And so maybe you didn't score as well as you could have if you stayed consistent, but you also didn't regress. You didn't go
Yeah.
backwards, like to do worse than you did. You just
Right.
matched in what you did in a lot of ways because you
Yeah.
gave yourself that time off.
Yeah, and I mean, in a sense, it was a blessing because we got to, like you said, recover and kind of reset. And also, again, we came back and we, I didn't regress in anything really. Everything kind of stayed either the same or it went up. So like to me, that was like, wow, like even if I did, take that little break, like I'm still in a pretty solid spot.
Yeah.
To continue to grow. And I mean, even now as we're starting to get back into our regular programming, it's starting to set in like, wow, okay, hey, I'm doing pretty good still. Like, all right, I'm still maintaining. Like, okay, I'm not where I want to be at the moment, but I'm still holding up. So, yeah, it's just, like I said, it's just been incredible. I
It's
don't know what else
solid,
to
dude.
say, but
It's
it's just
solid.
like,
I'll take it. I love it. I love it. I'm gonna throw something in here now, just because we're in the middle of it. While you're watching, if you're watching on YouTube, hey, thanks for hanging out with us. Make sure you click the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up on this video from Brendan, but also comment below with what you're going through, or maybe if you can relate, if you've worked on cars, or maybe if you've been in a position where you've given yourself a long period of time of not going into the gym and then getting back into it. I want to hear these stories. We can get conversations going. But while you're here, if you're listening on podcasts, when it's safe, please make sure you give it a 5-star rating and leave us a review while you're here too, because that would be really helpful because it's a free show and we need to reach more people. And that's how we do it with those podcast reviews and subscriptions. So thank you. But we're bringing it back over. So we've talked about kind of how you got into fitness and the journey with Chris and then working with the cars, which is cool, and in racing. And you guys are from Long Island, which is crazy. When I think of Long Island, I know nothing about my geography is terrible, by the way. So I know that Long Island's like up in New York.
yep,
And I know it's an island, right?
close. Yeah, I guess you can consider it an island. It's still kind of connected to the
Oh my
mainland.
god, I'm just my
It's
geography is just
it's
terrible.
technically an island if you really want to get into the
I'm a
geography of it,
fitness
but
guy. That's kind of my thing.
that's hey, you nailed it. You honestly nailed it.
But I didn't know. So like when I think you're describing the way where you grew up, when I think of Long Island, I think like New York. I'm thinking like
A lot of people do. You're not the only
New
one.
York.
Every time we tell people we're from New York, the immediate thing is, "Oh, you're from the city."
Yeah.
No, I mean close,
Uh-huh.
but no. I mean, uh, yeah. I mean, where we grew up, it's starting to get a little built up, but like most of it was just farmland and shopping malls. Like that's really there's really not much out there.
Interesting.
So yeah, I mean, coming to Westchester, I mean, there's a plethora of things to do out here, which
Right?
is awesome.
I
So
know. I love it here.
yeah,
I
I
love it
know.
here. I grew up in a town very similar. I grew up in a town called Oxford.
Oh,
And so it's like southern Chester County. I
yeah,
mean, you know where it's called
yeah.
is, right? But when I grew up, it wasn't what it is now. It was like farmland. And like we had like two grocery stores on like the opposite sides of town and like like a random like pharmacy store. And like that was it. Like a
Hmm.
tractor store. That was it. And like so there was nothing. We had to come out here. So living here is
Yeah.
like I feel like I'm in the city without all the city like hustle and bustle.
Yes,
Right?
that's exactly like how I feel, and I love it. Like it's
Yeah.
awesome. Like
Right?
the people here are awesome. Everything that's out here is awesome. BOB's here, which is awesome. So
So which is what I wanted to get to earlier.
sure.
So when Claudia said you guys found a house, which yay, super exciting.
Yep.
Um, she said one of the parameters in which you were deciding where to go with the house and where to buy was your distance to the gym.
That is true.
That just
That is very
hit
true.
my heart. Just
Yeah, we love it here. Like I can't express it. Like I know so many people, on previous podcasts and I'm sure throughout the comments and everything just say how much they love it here. And I truly can say from the bottom of my heart, we absolutely love it here. We feel like family. It's been said, but everyone here feels like family. And so yeah, when we were looking for a house, we tried to be as close to here as possible. I mean, right now we're about 15 minutes away. I think in our new house we're like 20. So it's not that big of a difference, but like yeah, that was like one of our main things that we wanted to focus on was let's be close to our gym because we love it there so much. We do not want to be, distance from them. So,
It's awesome,
yeah,
man. Thank you, dude.
of
I
course, of
appreciate that. That's
course.
more my heart. Man, my heart was like melting when
glad I
man.
glad I
It's
glad
so
I could do
great.
that.
It was so
Glad I could do
great.
that.
Oh, shoot. So tell me about, so with your, okay, bringing it back now, my emotions are like, oh, so
Rewind.
great. You're in a now we're in a really cool place because yes, the move is coming up, and yes, we're gonna have some downtime in a way, like downtime. You still do virtual training in that way,
Yep.
and when this comes out, you'll already have hopefully been in your house and moved in. This,
Fingers
but
crossed.
your what would you say is like the next? So we've been here for about 6 months now.
Yep.
So for the next 6 months, where do you see yourself going with your fitness and your health and everything? Like, what are your big goals? What are you working on? What are you thinking about doing now?
I want to reach 100 sessions. That's my biggest goal. I want the t-shirt.
Get the shirt.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, honestly, like that's kind of my next goal is just be consistent coming here and just keep up with where I'm at. Keep coming, 3, 4 times a week. And just try to, improve, just constantly improve every single time I come. My goal is always just to improve, do better than I did last time. So if I'm continuing to do that and I'm continuing to, see gains, then I think for me, my fitness journey is doing well. So, but yes, I would like to reach every single session goal that's here. Obviously, it's a good challenge for me to reach. So that's probably what I'm going to be focused on
Good.
on after this. So yeah,
I like it.
thanks.
It's a tangible place
Yeah.
to aim, and
Hmm.
it aligns with everything. So no matter what the goals are with like body fat loss and like with building strength and all the different things, if you hit it, if you can stay consistent, which we track with like the shirts and stuff, if you stay consistent, it will come.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest takeaway for so many people is the consistency is the key to whatever you're working with in any area of life. And not just fitness, right? In
Yeah.
your health, in your
Yeah.
nutrition, in your all those things, yeah. But
Absolutely.
consistency will always beat intensity with everything.
Yeah, and I mean that's something, that we've struggled in and since joining, like you've really kept us honest as far as, nutrition and diet and making sure that we're hitting our goals in that spot. And all the coaches here have been doing really good as making sure we're hitting our goals as our on our fitness level and our workouts. And just making sure like there's a period of time that, we were reached out by, either Alicia or Molly, like, hey, where you guys at? Like, let's go. Come on, you guys got to be here. And it's like, oh wow, cool, like they actually want us to be there. Like, all right, we got to go. Like, not only do we miss them, but like they want us to be there. So like just having that reassurance also too is like helped us keep and maintain that consistency and keeping on track with our goals. So that's another thing that we love about being members here is that you guys make sure a you want the best for us obviously, and b you guys make sure that we are on track to reach our goals, and you're going to do everything in your power to make sure that we hit them. So, yeah.
That's good, man. Thank you. You're you're right. So what with that, with all that good stuff,
I'm just
what
killing.
what tip has worked? So give me like I want to know what has been working well for you. I mean, because to lose 10 pounds of body fat in 6 months, that's a big deal. That's a significant milestone, right? I mean, you can
Yeah,
everyone watching cannot see it, but that body fat replica, that's 5 pounds. You've lost two
yeah,
of those.
I
They come
know,
off your body. They've come off of your body.
and
Two of those.
they're pretty
That's
big.
big.
Yeah,
So for people who
they're
are
not
watching,
small little.
that's like the size of my forearm. Is the size of that body fat, and it's not as that's thicker than my forearm.
That's pretty. Yeah,
It's
it's
thick, right?
yeah.
You lost two of those. So what were the big things that worked well for you over the past 6 months in terms of everything that we've been working on with the kind of every little detail? I want to know what worked for you.
I think for me it was you mentioned to me in one of our meetings, take keep drinking water, making sure I'm hitting my goals was my water goals, tongue twister. My water goals. And I took it as a challenge. Like that's just my mentality. Again, is I just take everything as a challenge. So when you said, "Hey, you're hitting this goal of of how much water you're drinking, I want you to try to reach for this." Okay, fine. Matt said do it. I'm gonna do it.
Hmm.
So that really helped me was just keeping up with my water intake. You gave us some ideas as far as on the nutrition side, kind of foods to eat,
Do you
kind of
remember any of the little tips? Do you happen to recall any of the little tips?
oh boy.
Any of the little things that we could like give
I
little
remember
nuggets?
vegetables. Green vegetables was on there. Anything green
Yeah.
was on there.
What about the soda? Remember any soda things?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're big soda drinkers,
Yeah.
but yeah. So you said to cut out the soda. You did mention the
Right,
Zevia.
they give you tips. It wasn't just like
Yeah,
cut it out.
it wasn't just cut out. That's true.
It
I'm
was
sorry.
like
I'm
let's
sorry. You're
find a
right.
better
You
alternative.
didn't say that. But yeah, you gave us alternatives to things that, we binged on before joining. So it kind of helped us wean off those and relying on those. I was a big sugar freak. I loved sugar. And you kind of slowly got me off the sugar and the snacking and stuff
You
like
still
that.
have it though, right?
Occasionally,
Occasionally,
if
yeah.
it's not as often as it was. I mean, I was a big chocolate chip cookie guy.
Big chocolate chip
So
cookie guy. Yeah, I remember you telling me the
anyway,
chocolate chip
but
cookies.
yeah,
Oh, tell everybody. Let's throw it on. Let's do it.
put me
I
on the spot
want to
here.
hear it. I want to
Oh,
hear it.
jeez. So
So let's
yeah,
hear the Brendan before you came in and worked with me with all that. What was
it
Brendan's
was one sleeve of Chips Ahoy cookies. So if you had it was a family
family
pack,
pack?
and if you had, took one row, I'd have one row probably a day
Mm,
at that point, and then
mm.
you limited me down to four, and I started with four, and then I quickly
Four cookies.
just four
Yeah,
cookies, straight up four
yeah.
cookies, because I think that was a serving size at the time. So you were like, I'll give you one serving size. I'm like, all right, cool. I think I did that for like a week, and it just was like, it just cut the craving right out. And it was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I don't need to eat these anymore. Like, again, occasionally, like, if I'm going through, a rough day or, I'm stressed out about something, I'm okay. Maybe I'll have like one or two
Mhm.
just to kind of, make myself feel better. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy to say it, but like, yeah, it just kind of killed the snacking altogether, along with the water intake and the other changes that I made in my diet. It just completely altered, and then also again, I felt good. Like, when I was eating a lot of sugar, drinking a lot of soda, like, I felt bad, felt bloated, didn't have a lot of energy. And then as soon as I started making those changes, it was like a light switch went off, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, okay, I can do, I can run all day if I wanted to. Like, it was crazy. Um, but yeah, like that kind of stuff really helped us. Um, you know, Everybody that helps us out in the gym, all the members that have pushed us really kind of kept us, on track on our fitness goals. You know, I'm really hard on myself if I don't do something well. So, to have Alicia sitting there and saying, "Hey, you did good today. We'll work on it. Next week. You're doing great." Molly's the same way. Nick's the same way. Um, Having them, any member, if they see us struggling, like if they see we need help, like they come over and they're like, "Hey, like try this. Okay, hey, that worked." Or, whatever. They motivate us, they push us to keep going. So those two things honestly have been life changing, just to have those two factors in our experiences here.
Yeah, but the big takeaway for this nutrition piece, the big takeaway,
Oh, yeah, we'll go back to the nutrition stuff.
big piece. He didn't have to cut it out completely.
No, I didn't.
You just want to make more awareness.
And you said that. That was the
Yeah.
first thing you said, because I was under the impression that I just had to cut out everything and just, all right, I'm going to eat salads and eat like, that for the rest of my life. Like that's the immediate, expectation I had in our first meeting. And you were like, no, like just these three things. You gave me a list. I wrote it down and I put it on my fridge just so I can look at it. But you were like, these three things, just do those three things and you're on the right track. And I did the three things and they were simple. It was a change of bread.
Hmm.
So I was using, I think I was eating like sourdough or white bread with my sandwiches for lunch, and you said, nope, try a grain. Did that. That was easy. Added, you know, any kind of green vegetable leaf in my food. That was easy. Upped my protein intake. That was another one. That was easy. Like they weren't big changes. That's what I'm trying to get. They were not big changes. They were like easy little things that you can do every day and you're fine. And still keep, still kind of keep with your old diet in a sense, Like you said, the soda thing, I didn't have to completely cut it out. You just gave me an alternative and it was fine. Like it didn't change really much. I can have a soda today if I wanted to. Like it didn't affect me as much as having one a day or two a day like I was before joining. So
Beautiful. That was good. That was it, man. I was like, wait, I know it's there somewhere. But you're right. It doesn't have to be this huge life altering change to your diet when you want to see fat loss or weight loss or changing your body at all.
right.
And that's a big takeaway that I want to give a little nugget to everyone watching and listening is that if you have a health goal, if you have a fitness goal, just like when you sat down with me and you had this preconceived notion of like, well, if I gotta lose weight, that means I gotta eat salads for every meal every day. And I was like, heck no, dude. Like the last time I had a salad, I don't even know when. Like, there's no point in it. We just want to
Right.
find greens, and like leaves are wonderful, but like real greens, so like
Yeah.
broccoli and asparagus and
Yeah.
Brussels sprouts and all the green beans, all the things that have a little more body to them,
Yep.
just have a little bit. And I remember it's like I think I said maybe like four spears of asparagus, like
Yeah.
some super simple,
Yep.
or like three pieces of broccoli, like so basic.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It
And that's
was,
it,
and I mean, I'm not even a big like vegetable guy, and the way you made it sound, it was like, okay, yeah, it's easy.
right?
Just three pieces of broccoli, that's nothing. And honestly, it's grown because it's like, okay, actually, this isn't that bad, and I just keep going with it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's. I mean, the change sounds intimidating at first, but it's really not that bad at all. It's super easy.
And you had, and it's so inspiring to hear it from you, Brendan, because you are not alone in that. A lot of people think it's just this, it's one way or it doesn't work. And so for me, it's like, no, it works if you work, and it works if you allow for it to work for you.
Yeah.
And so like changing up your nutrition, for example, starting with just three simple things that you did allowed for you to realize that, wow, I actually have a little more energy in my day. Wow, I actually feel a little less bloated. Wow, I actually feel like I could get through my workout and not feel so bad about how I've performed. Those little things set off these little domino effects in our brains of saying, "Wow, well, if that worked well, maybe if I have a little bit more, I'll do even better." And it kind of just it keeps compounding, and that's what I love about what we do. It's like the compounding effect of fat loss and strength and mobility and stability and nutrition and every little thing that we do. It all just kind of compounds, and it's really really cool seeing it in effect for you, man. It's
In
cool.
such a short period of time too. I mean, like I said, 6 months is, you know, there's people that have been here for, multiple years, and see their journeys and hearing their journeys, because I've listened to this podcast multiple times, and different people's stories, and like just hearing how
Thanks, man.
they are at. Yeah, I'm a true fan. But just like to hear other people's stories and like compare mine to theirs, it's like, wow, like they've gone through so much, in, and they've been here longer, and like I've been here for 6 months, and even that period of time, like how much I've gone through and how much I've changed is just like, to me, that's inspiring. It inspires myself because it's like, hey, wow, like look how far I've gotten so far, and it pushes me to keep going. So yeah.
And you've got a beautiful other half to you. And
Yes.
she's
Yeah.
another piece of the inspiration that
Yeah,
uh,
she pushes me so
we
hard
need to get
too.
her in
But
here on a podcast too, so she can do a
I'll
podcast
I'll
with
I'll make I'll drag her in.
us.
I'll make sure that she's on here because her story too is crazy. But yeah, she's been my rock through this whole process because she's the one that pushed me to come and join, and she's the one that kind of pushes me to the days that maybe I'm not feeling it. She's like, let's go. Like, what are you doing? You're just, let's go to a session. Let's work out. Let's feel good about ourselves. And yeah, we kind of balance each other out where there's days where maybe she doesn't feel good about what she did, but I'm there to build her up and push her and get her in the right mind frame, and she does the same to me. So yeah, she's amazing, and I'm happy that we're in this together. So
I am too. I am too, man. That's good. So let's think. I want you to give me a tip. I'm trying to change it up a little bit. So
sure.
I had this whole like list of like questions. Like, I'm gonna start asking questions on the show. It's gonna be great. And then I was like, you know what? That's just gonna be overwhelming, and I'm not gonna make.
No, hit me up. I'm good.
But I do want you to think about what the biggest win for you was that you believe that you could share with other people. Like maybe it's a tip on like your eating habit, maybe it's a tip on like what you've been doing with your fitness or your recovery or your sleep. I don't know what it is, but tell me about a little thing that you have learned in your 6 months that has worked well for you. Another thing that's worked well for you that you like to share with everybody.
That's a good question. Um, Probably that it's okay to push yourself. Keep pushing yourself. Keep trying to do better. Because if you start getting comfortable, that's when you kind of start losing interest and you start losing motivation. But if you keep saying, "Hey, I can do better," and you keep pushing yourself and you keep proving to yourself that, hey, you can do it. If you think that you cannot do it and you keep pushing yourself to challenge yourself to keep doing better, it'll work wonders. Because that's exactly what I do. Is I keep telling myself, I can do better and keep pushing myself, and it just keeps up the motivation.
It does. I agree because I operate in the same way, and it had my mentor had to tell me this. He said, "You're the kind of so we're very much alike in that way where it's like I always compare myself to how I've been doing and what I've done in the past, and I'm always looking forward. I'm like,
Hmm.
cool, I did that. Cool, I can keep moving forward, and I
Yep.
keep going. But sometimes we need to look at where we are now and be able to look over our shoulders or maybe behind us and say, look how far we've come.
Exactly.
Look at what we've
Yeah.
accomplished. Look what I have done." That way, it helps realign the goals of where we're moving forward. So you don't just have to keep pushing yourself. You actually get pulled in that direction because of how powerful the past was for what you've done, and looking back and admiring how far you've come, and giving yourself the almost like that personal, you give yourself a high five, like nice job, Seth. High five. I do all the time. I high five myself, I pat myself on the back all the time. But it's inspiring
Mhm.
when you know that you're only competing against yourself. But as long as you can continue to look at what you've accomplished, where you've been, what you've done, what you've overcome, and just know that if you've done that, you could do what else is ahead of you.
Exactly.
And being in the moment and present to challenge yourself now, but knowing that you can move forward and that you have gone overcome. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good,
It's an amazing feeling,
right?
honestly. Yeah, it's incredible.
So good.
So,
So let's do this. I want you to think about what you would say to the person or to maybe yourself in, let's say, like we're on an elevator, right? And we're going up the elevator, and it's an
okay.
elevator pitch. You gotta think about what you would say to the person in the elevator who is maybe just like you, Brendan. Maybe you're maybe it doesn't matter how old they are, right? 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. It doesn't matter. But there's someone who has doubted themselves in the past, maybe hasn't been in fitness in a while, maybe hasn't been in fitness ever, has some self-conscious, self-esteem, a little self-conscious about themselves. What would you say to that person?
Probably just to jump, give it a shot. It's not it you know, here at Ben on Better, it is not like any other gym. You're not going to get judged. Nobody's going to look down on you. Nobody's going to look at you and say, "What are you doing?" They're going to try to help you. Everyone here wants the best for you. They want you to be on track. They want you to reach your goals. So, just make the leap, be confident in yourself, just do it. Honestly, just do it. I know it's cliche, but like it it, it won't hurt, you're going to improve yourself. You'll feel it. And like I said, I mean, the motivation and the tools that are here, you can't find anywhere else. Honestly, you can't.
Love it. Where do you see yourself a year from now? So we're not going to date the podcast, but let's just say a year from where we are now. Where do you
Oh
see
boy.
yourself
Um,
with your fitness, with your health, with your mental, with your self-esteem, with everything?
I definitely want to be more confident in myself and my fitness. I want to make sure, I want to be able to, come in and hit my goals, and be able to keep um improving, but making sure that I'm doing everything correctly, get back on that track I was before the little break. But as far as nutrition and stuff, I definitely want to keep going down on the body fat. I mean, down 10 pounds already. I would like to be at least 20. I think 20 would reach my goal
Okay.
of when I joined here. So if I can hit that, that'd be awesome. Get my water weight up. That'd be awesome. Get my muscle mass up. I think that's my number one goal. I should probably go back and say that was my number one goal is get my muscle mass up. That's probably really where it's at. But yeah, just kind of keep going, honestly. Just I want in a year I want to be, you know, being able to say like, yeah, I did I did a year and I kept up with everything and I've improved so much still from, June or whatever, 6 months when I was here for
Don't
six
date the
months.
podcast.
Sorry. I don't know.
They're good. They're good. A year from now. So yeah, that's great. So a year from now, you want to have not only accomplished your body fat goals of reducing it an additional 10 pounds, but
Yep.
you also want to hit your strength goals, improve your lean body mass, improve your skeletal muscle mass. You want to build
Oh yeah.
and make it so that it is sustainable for your life,
Yeah.
so that you can hit the goal, accomplish a goal, feel it so that you live it. So you
Yeah.
haven't just checked the box and then regress back to where you were.
Exactly.
Check the
Exactly.
box, but you can say it and live in the person that you have become.
Yeah, just kind of like maintain, like just keep up with the changes that I made so far. Don't, like you said, don't regress, don't go back to the way things were before I joined. Just be able to maintain everything that I've learned so far and then build on it. So in a year, I'd like to say that, yeah, I did that. I accomplished that. I'm still doing, still using the tools that I learned, still doing the same thing, same nutritional diet, everything like that. As long as I can say I maintain that, then that's a win for me.
Love it.
So,
So good. That's good, man. This is so great. This was great. So for now, we're gonna wrap it up by saying thank you for hanging out with us here on the Better Fitness Proof podcast. If you're hanging out on YouTube, make sure you click the subscribe button so you get notifications when the next episode comes out or other videos come out. We have so much more coming out. We have so much already here on our YouTube channel. And if you're listening on any podcasting platform, thank you. Make sure you give it a 5-star rating and leave a review because, well, that's how we make it so that we can help change more people's lives by reaching more people with these reviews so that Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all the different places say that's a show worth sharing. So share with a friend and family member, give it a rating review, and we'll see you again next time. Bye.